The misconception. The crystal chambers of the Zephyrian High Council gleamed under the artificial starlight, casting rainbow patterns across the assembled delegates. Representatives from 47 different species had gathered for this emergency session, their various forms creating a tapestry of galactic diversity. At the center of the chamber, High Counselor Theiss raised her forearms, calling for silence. Fellow beings of the Galactic Alliance, her voice resonated through the translation devices. We have discovered a new species. They call themselves humans, and they inhabit the third planet of a small yellow star they name Sol. The chamber buzzed with excitement. New species discoveries were rare these days, as the Alliance had mapped most of the galaxy's inhabited regions. Counselor Murtok of the Bruthari leaned forward, his massive frame causing his chair to creak. What is their technological level? Are they a threat? Theiss activated the central holographic display, showing images of Earth and its inhabitants. The assembled delegates saw cities of moderate size, vehicles that moved on wheels rather than hovering, and ships that still use chemical propulsion to barely escape their planet's gravity well. According to our scouts, they have just achieved basic spaceflight, Theiss explained. Their technology is primitive by our standards. More importantly, our behavioral analysts have completed their assessment. She paused, allowing the tension to build. The humans are clearly a prey species. Murmurs of surprise rippled through the chamber. It had been millennia since the Alliance had encountered a sapient prey species that had survived to develop interstellar capability. Senior Analyst Vrex floated forward, his gaseous form shimmering as he spoke. The evidence is overwhelming. Humans live in large groups for protection, just like herd animals. They are physically weak compared to most predator species, lacking natural weapons like claws, fangs, or venom. Their eyes are positioned forward like predators, yes. But this appears to be an evolutionary adaptation for tool use rather than hunting. The holographic display shifted to show human settlements. Notice how their cities are built with multiple escape routes and defensive positions. Classic prey behavior. They even build their homes in elevated positions to watch for threats. Counselor Jara of the Aquatic Kingdoms gestured with her tentacles. What about their military? Surely they must have some form of defense. Primitive at best, Vrex replied dismissively. They still use projectile weapons and chemical explosives. Their space vessels are slow and lightly armed. Most telling of all, they seem to actively avoid conflict whenever possible. Our scouts observed numerous instances where humans retreated, rather than fight, even when they had superior numbers. The delegates nodded knowingly. This was textbook prey behavior. High Counselor Theiss spoke again. Given their vulnerable nature and primitive technology, the Council recommends extending Alliance protection to the humans. They clearly need our guidance to survive in a hostile galaxy. The vote was unanimous. 3 days later, the Alliance fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. The massive vessels, each the size of a small moon, took positions around the outer planets. Admiral Carex, a seasoned veteran of the Nexhari military, commanded the flagship. His serpentine form coiled around the command throne as he reviewed the mission parameters. Remember, he addressed his diverse crew. These humans are a prey species. They will likely be terrified by our presence. We must approach carefully to avoid causing panic. The communications officer, a crystalline being named Zilt, established contact with Earth's primitive satellites. Admiral, we are receiving multiple signals from the human homeworld. They appear to be attempting to communicate. Excellent. Open a channel to their leaders. Within hours, the first official contact between humanity and the Galactic Alliance had been established. President Sarah Chen of the United Earth Government appeared on the main view screen, flanked by various world leaders and military officials. Admiral Carex was surprised by the humans' composure. Instead of the cowering fear he had expected from a prey species, the humans appeared calm and curious. Greetings, beings of Earth, Carex began, using his most reassuring tone. I am Admiral Carex of the Galactic Alliance. We come in peace to offer you protection and guidance. President Chen smiled, a expression the Admiral's cultural database identified as positive. Welcome to our solar system, Admiral. We are honored by your visit. Protection from what threats? The galaxy is a dangerous place, Carex explained patiently. There are predator species who would not hesitate to exploit or destroy weaker civilizations. The Alliance has maintained peace for over 10,000 years by protecting vulnerable species like yourselves. The human leaders exchanged glances that Carex interpreted as relief. We would be grateful for your protection, President Chen replied. What would membership in your alliance require? Simply accept our guidance in matters of defense and foreign policy. We will establish monitoring stations in your system and provide you with the technology needed to join the galactic community safely. The negotiations proceeded smoothly. The humans agreed to all of the alliance's terms with surprising eagerness. They accepted limitations on their military development, agreed to alliance oversight of their space program, and welcomed the establishment of monitoring stations throughout their system. Admiral Carex reported back to the High Council with satisfaction. The humans have accepted our protection without resistance. They seem genuinely grateful and eager to learn from us. As predicted, they are a peaceful prey species that recognizes their need for stronger protectors. Over the following months, the Alliance began integrating humanity into galactic civilization. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges initiated, and human delegates were given minor positions in Alliance bureaucracy. The humans proved to be quick learners, adapting to galactic technology and customs with remarkable speed. However, not everyone in the galaxy viewed the Alliance's expansion favorably. The Korthak Empire, a militant coalition of predator species, saw the Alliance's protection of weak species as an opportunity for easy conquest. They had been testing Alliance defenses for years, probing for weaknesses. Commander Rakth of the Korthak Military Intelligence Division studied the reports about humanity with interest. So the Alliance has found another pet species to protect, he growled to his subordinates. These humans might serve as excellent leverage against the Alliance. His aide, a smaller but equally vicious Korthak named Skrix, bared his fangs in what passed for a smile among their species. The reports indicate they are particularly helpless, Commander. Primitive technology, no natural weapons, and they flee from conflict. They would make excellent slaves. Or hostages, Rakth mused. Begin planning strikes against human settlements. If we can capture enough of them, the Alliance will be forced to negotiate. And if not, we eliminate a potential future threat while they are still weak. Unknown to the Korthak, their communications were being monitored, not by the Alliance, whose members had long ago abandoned such unseemly practices as espionage, but by humanity itself. The humans had quietly established their own intelligence network within weeks of joining the Alliance, using their primitive technology in ways the more advanced species never expected. In a secure bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Patricia Morrison reviewed the intercepted Korthak communications with her senior staff. The room was filled with Earth's top military strategists, scientists, and intelligence officers. They're planning to attack our colonies, Colonel James Park reported. Intelligence suggests a major assault within the next 2 months. Perfect, General Morrison replied, causing her staff to exchange knowing looks. How are our preparations proceeding? Dr. Lisa Yamamoto, head of the Military Research Division, pulled up holographic displays showing humanity's true technological capabilities. The stealth shipyards on the dark side of the moon are operating at full capacity. We now have over 300 vessels that don't officially exist. The new quantum weapon systems have exceeded all performance expectations. What about our allies? Morrison asked. The Alliance leadership remains convinced we are a helpless prey species, Intelligence Director Robert Kumar reported. They have no idea we've been reverse engineering their technology and improving upon it. Our operative network has infiltrated most major Alliance institutions. Morrison nodded approvingly. Humanity had learned long ago that the best way to deal with superior forces was to let them underestimate you while you prepared. The same tactics that had served them well throughout their violent history were proving invaluable on a galactic scale. The Korthak Empire has given us the perfect opportunity, she continued. When they attack, we drop the harmless act and show the galaxy what humans are really capable of. But remember, We need to appear to be fighting desperately for survival, not effortlessly crushing our enemies." The assembled officers chuckled grimly. They had been preparing for this moment since first contact. Humanity had studied every species in the Alliance, analyzed their military capabilities, and developed countermeasures for potential threats. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had not survived as Earth's apex predator by being weak. 3 weeks later, long-range sensors detected the approaching Korthak fleet. The Alliance command, confident in their protective capabilities, prepared to dispatch a standard peacekeeping force to deal with the minor pirate incursion. Admiral Carex, now serving as humanity's official protector, assured President Chen that the threat would be handled swiftly. "Do not worry, President Chen. The Korthak are bullies who prey on the weak. Once they see Alliance vessels, they will retreat, President." Chen nodded gratefully, playing her role perfectly. "Thank you, Admiral. We are so fortunate to have your protection." What neither Carex nor the approaching Korthak fleet realized was that humanity was ready. Hidden throughout the solar system, cloaked by technology that surpassed anything the Alliance possessed, hundreds of human warships waited in perfect silence. The stage was set for the galaxy to discover that they had been harboring not helpless prey, but the most dangerous predators the universe had ever seen. The revelation: the Korthak war fleet emerged from hyperspace like a pack of mechanical wolves, their dark vessels bristling with weapons and scarred from countless battles. Commander Rakth stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Blood Talon, his reptilian eyes gleaming with anticipation. Intelligence reports indicated the human colony of New Geneva, established on a planet in the Alpha Centauri system, was defended by only a small Alliance patrol. "Sensors detect 12 Alliance vessels," his tactical officer reported. "Standard peacekeeping configuration. No significant threat." Rakth's forked tongue flicked out in satisfaction. "And the human settlements?" "Approximately 2 million inhabitants, across 3 cities. Minimal defensive installations. They appear to be broadcasting distress signals to their homeworld." "Excellent. Begin the attack. Target their defensive positions first, then move to capture civilians. The Alliance will surrender rather than see their precious pets slaughtered." The Korthak fleet advanced, weapons charging. Behind them, hidden in the void of space, humanity's true strength stirred to life. Admiral Sarah Reyes, commanding the human defense fleet from her flagship Retribution, watched the enemy approach with cold calculation. Around her, the bridge, crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements betraying none of the nervousness one might expect from a prey species facing extinction. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her tactical officer announced. "Alliance fleet status?" Reyes asked. "Admiral Carex is positioning his ships between the Korthak and the colony, just as predicted. They're broadcasting surrender demands and preparing for negotiation." Reyes allowed herself a grim smile. The Alliance species were so thoroughly committed to their peaceful nature that they genuinely believed every conflict could be resolved through dialogue. They were about to learn otherwise. Signal all units. Maintain stealth until the Korthak commit to their attack pattern. Let them show their true intentions before we show ours. On New Geneva's surface, the human colonists were following evacuation, protocols that looked convincingly panicked to outside observers. In reality, every civilian was a trained member of the Colonial Defense Force, and what appeared to be evacuation shelters were actually hardened military bunkers equipped with weapons that could level mountains. The first shots came from the Korthak fleet as they opened fire on the Alliance vessels. Admiral Carex, shocked by the unprovoked attack, broadcast desperate appeals for the Korthak to cease hostilities. "This is Admiral Carex of the Galactic Alliance. You are attacking a protected species. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Commander Rakth's laughter echoed across the communications channel. "The only consequence will be your destruction, Admiral. Your precious Alliance has grown soft. Today you learn what happens when predators face prey." The Korthak weapons tore through the Alliance shields with brutal efficiency. The peaceful species had advanced technology but no experience with actual warfare. Their vessels, designed for exploration and diplomacy, were no match for dedicated warships. As the Alliance fleet began to fall back, Broadcasting frantic distress calls, the Korthak moved toward the planet's surface. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for. "All ships, drop stealth and engage," Admiral Reyes commanded. The Korthak fleet suddenly found themselves surrounded by vessels that had appeared from nowhere, but these were not the primitive chemical-powered ships the Galaxy associated with humanity. These were sleek predators of metal and energy, their hulls incorporating technology beyond even Alliance capabilities. Commander Racht stared in shock as his sensors tried to make sense of what they were detecting. "Impossible. These energy signatures, they're off the scale. Sir, the human vessels are targeting our engines and weapon systems with unprecedented precision," his tactical officer reported, his voice tinged with panic. "Their targeting computers are compensating for our evasive maneuvers before we make them." The first human weapons barrage was a revelation. Instead of the crude projectiles or basic energy beams the Galaxy expected, humanity unleashed weapons that bent the laws of physics. Quantum disruptors that caused enemy ships to simply cease existing in localized areas. Gravitational lances that twisted space-time to crush hulls like empty cans. Neural disruption fields that overwhelmed enemy crews with crippling fear. But perhaps most terrifying of all was the precision. Every shot was calculated not just to destroy, but to demoralize. The Korthak watched helplessly as their most advanced warships were systematically dismantled by weapons they couldn't even understand. "This is impossible," Racht roared. "They're supposed to be prey, weak, helpless." Admiral Reyes's face appeared on the Korthak communication screens, her expression calm and professional. "Commander Racht, I am Admiral Sarah Reyes of the Human Defense Force. You have attacked Alliance-protected species and threatened civilian populations. Surrender immediately, or we will demonstrate why humanity earned its place as Earth's apex predator." The battle, if it could be called that, lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it ended, the entire Korthak fleet was either destroyed or disabled. Those vessels that survived were trapped in gravitational bubbles, their crews alive but completely helpless. Across the Galaxy, Alliance monitoring stations recorded the engagement in stunned silence. The species that had been dismissed as harmless, prey had just effortlessly destroyed one of the most feared predator fleets in known space. High Counselor Thys watched the battle recordings for the third time, her crystalline form flickering with confused colors. "This cannot be accurate. Our behavioral analysis clearly indicated they were a prey species." Senior Analyst Vrex floated nervously nearby, his gaseous form contracted with anxiety. The evidence was conclusive. They exhibited every characteristic of prey behavior. The defensive cities, the avoidance of conflict, the gratitude for protection. "They played us," Admiral Carrick said quietly, his serpentine form coiled in defeat. "Every action, every response, every sign of weakness, and it was all an act. While we thought we were protecting them, they were studying us, learning our weaknesses." The truth was more profound than any of them realized. Humanity had not simply deceived the Alliance about their military capabilities. They had fundamentally misunderstood what they were observing. The behavior patterns the aliens interpreted as prey characteristics were actually the sophisticated social structures of an apex predator species. The defensive cities were not built by creatures hiding from threats, but by beings so confident in their abilities that they could afford to concentrate their populations. The retreat from conflicts was actually tactical patience, waiting for the optimal moment to strike. The gratitude for protection was the calculated courtesy of a species that understood the value of allies. President Chen addressed the Galactic community from the United Nations building, her words broadcast to every inhabited world in Alliance space. "Fellow beings of the Galaxy," she began, "humanity has never sought conflict. We genuinely prefer peace and cooperation. However, we want to make something very clear to everyone watching this broadcast." Behind her, holographic displays showed humanity's true military capabilities. Hidden shipyards that dwarfed Alliance installations. Weapons that operated on principles the Galaxy's most advanced species were only beginning to understand. Defensive networks that could protect or destroy entire star systems. "We are not prey," Chen continued, her voice carrying the quiet confidence that had made humans the dominant species on their homeworld. We are persistence hunters. We are the species that survived ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, and asteroid impacts. We are the beings who turned a hostile world into a garden through pure determination. The display shifted to show human exploration missions secretly established throughout Alliance space. Research stations that had been mapping galactics, defenses, trade routes, and political structures for months. We have been studying you as much as you have been studying us. We know your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, and your hopes. We know which species can be trusted and which ones see others as prey. We know about the Korthak slave markets, the Nexari genetic experiments, and the Vorthan territorial expansions that the Alliance has been too peaceful to address. Across the galaxy, certain species felt a chill as they realized their secrets had been discovered. But we also know about the genuine kindness of the Zephyrians, the artistic achievements of the aquatic kingdoms, and the scientific breakthroughs of the Crystal Collective. We want to be part of this galactic community, but as equals, not as protected pets. The address concluded with a simple statement that would be quoted across the galaxy for generations to come. Humanity offers its friendship to all peaceful species and its protection to those who cannot protect themselves. But to those who would prey upon the innocent, remember this: we are not your victims. We are the species that hunted predators to extinction on our own world. We are the ultimate predators, and we have been waiting. The response was immediate and galaxy-wide. Species that had been secretly planning expansion at the expense of weaker neighbors suddenly found themselves reconsidering their strategies. The Alliance Council voted unanimously to offer humanity full membership with equal status, and in the depths of space, several predator species that had been preparing invasion fleets quietly canceled their missions. But perhaps most significantly, for the first time in millennia, the galaxy's peaceful species felt truly safe. They now had protectors who understood that sometimes peace could only be maintained through strength. The age of humanity in galactic affairs had begun, not with conquest or domination, but with the simple promise that those who chose peace would be protected by those who had mastered war. In the weeks that followed, diplomatic envoys from across the galaxy arrived at Earth. Some came seeking alliance, others offering tribute, and a few attempting to negotiate from positions of fear. Humanity received them all with the same professional courtesy they had always shown. But now the galaxy understood what lay beneath that civilized exterior. The humans had not changed. They had simply allowed the galaxy to see what they truly were. Not the sheep hiding among wolves, but the apex predators who had learned that the greatest strength came from choosing when not to show it. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.